Are tech giants ruining the stock market? Should Daniel buy life insurance for his 21-year-old son? And are millionaires living tax-free by borrowing money? Let's find out. Welcome back to the Personal Finance Club show. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Jeremy. I love your ramp up face when you're getting ready to start recording. You smile really big and then you
Well, because when the camera
start.
turns on, you got to be on, Jen. This is Hollywood stuff.
I know, but it's funny to witness it, I'll say.
Yeah.
They don't get to see that.
No, I do feel like when I'm making a TikTok or on the podcast, I'm definitely more on because I think you're supposed to be and you're trying to put on a show. But sometimes people meet me in real life and they're like, entertain me, clown. And I'm like, oh, I'm just standing in line at the airport.
I can speak to you're a real bore in real life. I'll tell from personal experience.
You think the guy who's shaped his life around espousing the benefits of low-fee index funds would be much more fun at parties. Yet here we are, kind of boring.
Here we are.
Speaking of parties, did you just get an email from me, Jen?
I got invited to the wedding.
That's right. My life right now it's actually not that bad. We're trying to have it be a very chill kind of planned wedding where it's going to be at a resort. It's a destination wedding, I know, but we're hopefully trying to make it somewhat affordable. And send out. What do you think a wedding should cost these days?
I don't know, $5-6.
Send out one invite for that.
I have no perspective on that at all. I've never planned a wedding, especially financially. I've sung at a lot of weddings.
Oh.
But I would say in these major cities, you're looking at $30,000.
That's an incredible guess. Last time I looked it up, I think they said that was the average, but obviously I think it skews expensive because while most are clustered around 30,000, some can be 300,000 or 3 million or whatever,
right.
Getting really crazy. Yeah, I think we're kind of targeting 30,000, but I'm expecting it to just be more 60,000 because just things happen.
Right.
I mean, we could do it way cheaper and just be show up to this resort and we'll see you there, and there's nothing else. But we're having the party and booking a big room for ourselves and doing a bunch of other stuff. It just starts to come out of the woodwork. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a ton of money. It's an offensive amount of money. I normally would be fully against this, but I am pretty rich, not in the 1%, but I'm in the 3%.
I thought you were going to say I'm in love, but you said I'm rich.
I'm in love with my money, and I don't want to get divorced from it.
Normally I wouldn't do this, but I'm so in love. No, you said I'm pretty rich. Wow. Run
well,
that back,
to
Jeremy.
be fair, I think that was the first half of my sentence, which means I can afford it, and therefore things that are kind of once in a lifetime opportunities where I'm not really a wedding guy, but the reality is how often do I see my cousins? How often do I see my wife's family? And when you're talking about memories kind of dotted throughout life, a lot of times you will say the last time I saw my family was at so-and-so's wedding. And so, while it's a lot of money, also because I have the means, what are you going to spend it on? And I actually was thinking about buying a new car. I talked about buying a Rivian, and I basically, it's $100,000. I'm all right, what would I rather have this other car sitting in my driveway, or would I rather have a memory and experience for maybe 100 or 50 people or however many people show up to this thing? I don't know. So yeah, in the midst of it, we're gonna spend some money.
Vivi and I are already planning our grand getaway.
Oh really? Oh, that's good. Yeah, I know. I think there are some economies of scale if you share rooms and stuff like that. So
I'm so excited. I have your magnet on my fridge. I just got the email. I'm fully bought.
I know. We did send out save the date magnets, and then we were talking about sending out physical invites. Whatever, let's just email everyone. We did a whole fancy website.
You're not gonna do physical invites at all?
You just got the email. What do you want? You want a physical invite now?
Cheap.
Okay.
Boo.
All right. Well, I'll take it out of your booze budget, which is zero because you don't drink.
I don't care. I'm really excited, and the magnet's super cute, and I'm just pumped.
Nice.
Amazing. Should we get into it?
Now I spent all this money on the wedding. Let's talk about making some more money somehow. What do we got?
Hot topics.
What is today's hot topic?
Okay, this headline from Yahoo Finance. Shout out Yahoo, by the way. They've been around.
I know. Yeah, still exists. Way to go, Yahoo.
I mean, this post didn't have a lot of likes.
Did you see this on your MySpace page?
I'm seriously, Yahoo Finance is in my top 8,
Nice.
actually. So this headline from Yahoo Finance reads, "The Magnificent Seven is leading the S&P 500's decline." The caption is short and sweet. The Magnificent Seven stocks posted a loss of over 330 billion on Friday. Like, is there any validity to this? Is this something you've heard before? What does it even mean?
All right. So first of all, when they say posted a loss, they don't mean the company's lost that money. They meant the value of the stocks trading. And so the way that you value a company in the stock market is you take you take how many shares exist of that stock, multiply it by the current price of the most recent trade of that stock, and then assume every share is worth that much, therefore the whole company is worth that much. And so, for example, if you have a billion shares and every share is worth $10, then the company's worth $10 billion. And if it goes from $10 a share to $9 a share, the company goes from 10 billion to 9 billion. That means it's just lost $1 billion, although it's all kind of like paper pretend money because not all the shares are trading on any given day. But yeah, that's what it means. The Magnificent Seven, for some frame of reference, is the 7 stocks that have done really well the last few years, that have been really doing the opposite of what you read about, which is most of the gains of the S&P 500 is because of these 7 stocks. And now they're saying most of the losses of the S&P 500 is because of these 7 stocks. For the record,
I really should know who these are.
What are your guesses? Do you have a guess to any of those? If you could guess.
I know at least Google.
Google's one. That's one. You got one.
Whatever you
Keep
call
going.
It. Apple.
That's 2.
Nvidia.
That's 3.
Is Tesla public? Is it
yes.
Elon? Tesla? Tesla's
Tesla's 4. All right, you're 4 for 4. You only have 3 more to go.
I don't think I can get the other 4. They're tech companies.
Yes.
They're computer is IBM up there? We just talked about IBM, so that's in my head. No.
That's a very cute guess, but no way.
You told me they had a fall from grace, but okay, I don't think I could do the other 3 off top.
I kind of forget which ones you said, but it's Google, Amazon, Apple, Facebook,
Meta,
Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla.
Oh, I did pretty good. Nice.
Yeah, no, you did great. And yeah, those are like these big hot tech companies booming from like electric vehicles, AI, social search, all this stuff that's like been big. They've been doing really well, but now is the bubble bursting? Because now those companies are plummeting, as you can kind of see in this chart, where it shows year to date, the Magnificent Seven are down about 15 or 16%, it looks like from the chart, whereas the S&P 500 is down, maybe 3%. And so these companies are so big, they represent a big portion of the S&P 500. And so while the other companies in the S&P 500 have done better, maybe they're even up, the net result of all 500 companies is that it's down a little bit. Right. This also reminds me, have you ever heard of FAANG, F-A-A-N-G?
Nope.
FAANG was the 5 company acronym that preceded the Magnificent Seven, which stood for Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. And I guess Netflix was not magnificent, but Nvidia and Tesla and Microsoft were magnificent. And so they got added. And, the huge problem with these fancy named groups of stocks is that they're purely backwards looking. You can, let's say you take 500 random companies, jumble them up, and then let time go on for a while. And then you look backwards, like, okay, look, those 7 did really well. Those are magnificent. But you'll only know that because time went on. When you started, you didn't know which 7 was going to be. It's starting now. And so I do need to interrupt this, what is this segment? This hot topic segment with a Jeremy Had Time Today segment. I'm just inserting.
You're interrupting yourself?
I'm interrupting myself with Jeremy Had Time Today because I have time for this interruption. And I'm going to read you a comment. It's very, very topical, just on a post from today. And there's a post I was talking about index funds. And this commenter said, I feel the index funds are just a safer bet. But when you're young, there's no reason why anyone should simply own just index funds and not individual stocks. To me, that's crazy. Your 401k is an index fund. Buy stocks, guys. Stick to the Mag 7 if you're more conservative. These stocks will outperform any index fund over the course of 30 years. It's just that simple. And
boo.
And I responded. I was like, "You only know that looking backwards." And then we got a little flame war, and he's like, "No, dude, look it up. Look it up over the last 30 years. See which one did better." I was like, "Yeah, but this is 2026 and 1996. Were you out there commenting on GeoCities or whatever existed? I know
that's where you need to bring IBM back.
I know. Were you commenting on Ask Jeeves and saying, "Hey, Google, Amazon, Apple, Meta, which will soon be invented in 10 years and be called Facebook, NVIDIA, Tesla." Like none of those were even in the conversation back then, right? So he's like, he's got this like totally warped view where he's like, "Hey, those will do better." I'm like, no. You're mistaken. Those have done better, which would have been great to know 30 years ago, but we didn't know that 30 years ago. And now the question is, starting now, looking forward, which ones are going to do better? And this post from Yahoo Finance kind of perfectly explains the flaw in his reasoning, which is, hey, dude, it's already started. They're already underperforming dramatically. The market's down 3%. The Mag 7's down 16%. You just underperform.
Which is kind of crazy because you like can't think of a company like Meta ever failing.
And the thing is, like, it's not failing. It's just not doing as well as people expect it to do. And so that's why the price dropped. So again, people, there's a multiple on these stocks, which is like how many times are you willing to pay for their profits? And the bigger the multiple, the higher the expectation. And so, for example, if you buy a carpet company, you might be like, okay, I'll pay you 7 times your profits, which means I expect to get back my investment in 7 years of profits. With, some of these companies, they're in like the 200s, meaning you have to wait 200 years to get back your investment. And obviously, no one will be alive for 200 years. And so what that's really saying is I expect this company not only to pay me back in 200 years, but to grow so fast, it actually pays me back in 10 years or 5 years or whatever it is. And so if that doesn't happen, rather than taking 200 years, it ends up taking 100 years or 50 years, which would be a magnificent performance, it still is underperforming, how well they think it's going to do. And so there's just all this, that's kind of where the bubble talk comes in, which is like there's all this hype, NVIDIA, Tesla, Facebook, Amazon, everyone's like, oh, it's going to be huge, it's going to be huge. And instead of being super, super duper huge, it's just super huge, which would still be great. The price drops. And so when he's looking backwards and saying, look how well the stock price has done, you're saying, yeah, but baked into that is all this future insane outperformance or insane super performance, which if it just barely underperforms that, the price will actually drop, which is what we're seeing here. And so, here's the problem, right? We only named these companies because those are backwards looking performance. And so my question to you, Jen, is like, what company is going to be the next in the next fancy name group that's going to outperform all these other companies?
Nectarine.
That's an extremely good answer. The problem with that, if you're not in on the joke, that's like the company I'm a co-founder of. The problem is it's not publicly traded, so you can't buy it.
Damn.
I will personally become exceptionally wealthy if that's true, but none of you guys can buy it yet.
So then if it's not Nectarine, then the answer is we don't know.
You don't know, exactly. That's the exact right answer. No one knows. And so, this commenter who, maybe will blur his name out because we're being kind of mean to him, but this commenter, in 10 years, he's going to be like, of course it was Beyond Meat, ABC Electric, and Doubletree Butterfly Company. Like, of course, there's those three. Everyone knows it's those three now, but like no one's saying that now. No one knows what those are now. And so, to just chase past performance by buying the ones that did well in the past, you're setting yourself up for underperformance. And so, him saying these are guaranteed to outperform an index fund, that's totally not true. And I told him, I said, hey, do what you want. You can buy the Mag 7. That's fine. They're not bad companies. I certainly own them inside of my index fund. But you're about to learn the expensive way that they don't always outperform. As we can see here in this chart, the underperformance has already started. Will it continue? I don't know. No one knows the future, but that's why I buy all the stocks.
Well, it got my attention, so they did their job over there at Yahoo Finance.
I know Yahoo really
clickbait
with the 2-line chart. They're really pushing the envelope.
Right? Yahoo ! Okay, awesome. Let's move on to money. Can I ask a dumb one?
You're asking smart questions to a dumb guy. What do we got today?
Well, we have lots of really great questions, actually. I would love more audio questions. So if y'all are listening, don't be shy. We want to hear your voices. We want to hear how this affects you emotionally. I want to hear the angst in your voice when you're asking your money questions, or maybe the pride and joy in your voice when you're talking about your investments ballooning.
If you want to fast forward to the front of the question line, send us a selfie video or an audio
Sure.
question.
Actually, that's
Yeah.
really what it is if you want us to answer your questions, send an audio or
Yeah.
video. Okay, so Daniel in Fort Worth, Texas asks, I'm 43 years old. I can say I am set for life. I receive VA disability, 4,600 a month, tax-free, Army pension, 2,600 a month, plus my full-time job for the state of Texas. I have a VGLI policy to my wife and survivor's benefits from the Army for my spouse. I want to leave generational wealth. I was told to get a variable life insurance policy on my son. He's 21 years old. I can do $200 a month. They should be the whole chart, and by 65, he'll have $1 million. I was told he can borrow against it tax-free and not have to pay the loan back, or he can pull the money out tax-free, then allowing the policy lapse. I'm not sure what that means. Is this even possible and worth it? Sorry. I'm like, my wife and I are set. I'm not worried about our future, but I want to create wealth for my future generations. I also own 2 homes and will be paid off by the time I'm 55. Jeremy, that's a juicy
Yeah.
question.
All right. Well, Daniel, first of all, thank you for your service. You've been in the military. You're on disability. I take that to mean that you had some sort of injury or something, and you have done your time serving your country honorably. I assume so. Thank you for that. I generally agree with you. Military pensions. There's not really much of a better financial bet than the U.S. government continue to pay your military pension. And so, between your $4,600 a month from the disability, $2,600 a month from the Army, that's what, $7,200 per month. Plus, you're still working full time. I'm like, dude, that's serious cash. You're set. You said you have a VGLI policy. That stands for Veterans Group Life Insurance. It's a term policy that renews every 5 years. It's basically a way for military veterans to keep a term life insurance policy in force after they leave the military if they want. But it gets more expensive every 5 years. And so into your 50s and 60s and beyond, it gets kind of prohibitively expensive. But also, we don't build wealth through insurance companies. We don't build wealth by buying a bunch of insurance and hoping it pays out one day. We build wealth by owning stuff like investments in real estate, which you're already doing. You're going to own 2 homes paid off, which is, don't know where they are, but even in Texas, that's probably going to be $1 million right there, more or less. And so to get to the meat of your question, you're saying, okay, I've got a 21-year-old son. I was told, he says, to get a variable life insurance policy. And so the person who told you that is not a financial advisor. That person is an insurance salesman. This is, if you can hear the sound of my voice and this is news to you, if you talk to a financial advisor and they tell you to build wealth by buying life insurance for you, for your son, for anyone, you don't have a financial advisor. You have an insurance salesman. They are only saying that because they make money from selling life insurance. So they only can see the world through a lens where they get a big fat commission by signing you up for an insurance policy. Insurance salesmen are liars. I hate to be blunt, but what he told you is not true. It's strictly not true, will not become true. And the way you know this is by looking at people who have done what he's suggesting you do. If you go look at people who have had a policy for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it's not worth $1 million. They're not borrowing great amounts of money against it. Everyone I see who has one of these permanent life insurance policies in place is usually underwater, meaning they put more money into it than it's currently worth, meaning they would have been better off putting that $200 a month under their mattress in a coffee can buried in the backyard, or if you want to get crazy, in a savings account or a high yield savings account. So these projections they show are not guarantees, and they rarely come true. And in fact, they're always hiding the truth behind them, which is these policies are extremely expensive. They don't mention the huge commissions that they get paid, the policy fee, the monthly fee, the index fee, the statement fee, the blah, and then the cost of insurance. And what often happens is these policies lapse and you lose everything. And so, I'm just so sick of debunking insurance salesman lies because it's just like playing whack-a-mole. They say I can borrow against it tax-free. Like a hint of truth, but there probably will be less cash value than if you just had the money yourself. And often these things have no cash value or no money you can borrow against. There's a great Instagram, TikTok account called Life Insurance Refunds. This guy named Jonathan, he literally talks to people who bought a life insurance policy 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. He goes on a 3-way call with them with their permission, calls the insurance company and says, hey, How much money has this person put in? $50,000. How much is it worth today? $20,000. How much can they borrow against it? $5,000. And then he goes to the insured. Did you know that? They no. I thought I would have all of that money. I thought, so like the lies being told by the people selling these policies are just so outrageous, and this whole like tax-free thing. Here's my favorite trivia question. I think Jen might even have this one memorized. Jen, when Daniel and his wife die, how much money can they gift to their son before they pay any sort of estate tax? 100% tax-free.
Yes, I feel like I should have this memorized. I want to say 14 million.
That would have been 100% correct last year, but now it's 15 million.
Wait, I feel like that's the one thing you said last time. It hasn't been a year since you've asked me that question. Maybe it was in the last year, I guess. Yeah.
Well, whatever. Yeah. It's April, January. I don't know. But so it's 15 million, but you're actually wrong by double because that's per person. Mm-hmm. I said Daniel and his wife, they can do $15 million each. So as a married couple, they can give $30 million tax-free to their son. And so this whole buy life insurance on your son so that he can have wealth, it's total and utter nonsense. It's a lie pushed by an insurance salesman. So what should you do instead? No, don't try to build wealth through an insurance policy. You're going to go years and years down this path and find out how taken you got. Please don't do that. By the way, I don't sell insurance. I also don't sell index funds. I don't care what you do with your money. I don't have a commission to be made here. And so I might be wrong, but at least I'm not a paid shill like the insurance salesman is. And so what do you do instead? The question is, when do you want your son to have the money? If you want to have him to have your money upon your death, you can invest for yourself in your TSP, in your IRA, in your 401k, in your just regular old taxable brokerage account. And if you invest in a regular old taxable brokerage account, you can give $30 million to your son tax-free. And when he gets that, he pays zero tax on it because he gets a step up in basis. That means, let's say you put in $10 million. This is being very ambitious if you can save only $200 a month. But let's say you put in $10 million, it grows to $30 million. The day that you die and he gets that, it steps up in basis, which means if he sells it all on that day, he gets to sell it as though he put in $30 million, meaning he pays zero in capital gains. It's amazing benefit of the tax code that requires no insurance whatsoever. So, the whole insurance thing is like one of these like misinformation lies pushed by insurance salesmen. So if you want to have your kid have money when you die, just invest for yourself. If you want to have your money have kid for his retirement, you could put that $200 into his Roth IRA. $200 a month is only $2,400 a year. That's 100% tax-free growth forever, tax-free withdrawals, and you can invest into an index fund, which is like 0.1% expense ratio. The permanent life insurance policies I look at are like 30 or 40 or 50% in expenses. It's crazy. Half of the money that you put in just erodes instantly to cost of insurance, commissions, fees. It gets crazy. And you only know that once you've been doing it for a while and you look inside, you're like, oh, where'd all my money go? It disappeared. So yeah, fund his Roth IRA if you want him to have it for his retirement. And if you want him to have it now, just give it to him. You can give your son, $30 million throughout the course of your life before you pay any sort of estate tax. And you can give your kid, I think it's like $16,000 per year before it even counts towards that $30 million. And so that, and that's actually doubled because it's your wife too. So you can actually give your kid $32,000 per year before it even starts counting towards that $30 million. So you can give your child lots and lots of money without worrying about the estate tax. And so, no, please, if you care about giving your child wealth and making generational wealth, do not do it through this insurance policy. You will go years down this path and find out that you got taken. Invest.
Taken like Liam Neeson.
Yeah, your money will be like Liam Neeson's daughter getting off at the airport in France, where of course everyone in the Paris airport is immediately kidnapped, just like your money will be, and thrown into some sort of horrific situation where it's just getting whipped and torn apart with fees and costs of insurance and statement fees and policy fees and per unit fees and surrender fees and the fees. But guess what? In your sales pitch you heard, Daniel, they didn't mention that, did they? Because they're liars. Apologies,
Daniel,
by the way, to the honest insurance salesmen out there.
My God.
There are some insurance agents who are very good people, selling really, really great whether it's term or auto or life or homeowners or whatever. Like insurance is part of a good financial plan, but the person you're talking to is not one of those people. That's someone who's chasing the commission, selling some nonsense.
Wow. You want to get Jeremy on 100? Talk
Yeah,
about life
I
insurance
just because I
salesmen
see people getting
and
scammed. I
women.
literally think it's the biggest scam happening in broad daylight, and just where are our regulators who are policing this? Like Daniel, an Army veteran, is about to get ripped off trying to save money for his kid, and like our regulators do nothing. So
It's a damn
yeah,
shame. Daniel, don't do it. I hope that this was just a little bit of tough love and it doesn't look like you bought it yet. So, there's people that lost a lot more money if you just bought
yeah.
it, so you can always go back.
I know. I often say like, oh,
Amazing.
the world is full of shades of gray, and there's always like, even in our last episode, I was making a case for Edward Jones in certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't find the nuance in this topic. I think should be avoided.
You got excited.
I get amped. I'm even amped for the sports segment.
Okay,
What do we got coming?
all right. You got Scroll
Scroll
Patrol.
Patrol.
I've got a video. I'm on the internet. I stay on the internet, so it's not hard for me to scour for these videos of people giving financial advice. And Jeremy has not seen this video. He's not allowed to click on it before we do the episode. So he's gonna react in real time. He's gonna tell us what he thinks, and we're gonna talk about it. And he's gonna give it a score, a grade, if you will.
We love
So
grades.
let's get
All
into
right.
it.
I have not
We
seen
do.
this.
What is this strategy that the wealthy do different than?
So it's called buy, borrow, dice. Rich people, they go buy that shitty duplex I told you about. It's ugly. And they buy, something not that exciting, maybe a full portfolio of index funds. Nothing that they can show on their Instagram. Okay, but they buy these assets. And what people don't realize is that the folks at the bottom, they work really, really hard to buy stuff. But before they can buy that stuff, the government takes a huge cut because that is income. Rich people, they know that they are going to buy these assets, all right? And this is with money that they did have to pay that tax on, but they want to stop paying that tax as soon as possible. So what they do is they then build this asset portfolio that is monstrous, and then they borrow against it. They are going to borrow against it because guess what? Debt is not counted as income. You don't get taxed on debt you take out. They use that debt and then they live their life. They get to do their fun things, and they oftentimes get interest-only loans. So they're very small payments that you actually have to make back. And then the dying part, very key, okay? The estate plan is so, so key because what they do is they have this trust, okay? So this trust holds all the assets, and then that trust passes those things, those amazing money-making things, down to the next generation.
Tax-free?
It is inherited at something called a stepped up basis, okay? So if you are my dad, okay, you buy something for $10. It appreciates to $1,000. You give it to me during your lifetime and I sell it. The gain on that sale is $990 and I have to pay taxes on that $990. But if
I give it to you when I die,
if you are already dead,
and then you inherit
and
it.
then I get it, the asset gets remarked to market.
What's that mean?
So the cost that I bought it at is the 1,000. So it's not the 10 that you actually bought it at. My purchase price is 1,000. So if I buy it at 1,000, because I inherited it from you at 1,000, and then I immediately sell it, what is the gain on that? Nothing. It looks like I made no money.
Wow.
I don't pay taxes on it.
That was one of our longest scroll patrols ever. So that's Vivian, your rich BFF. Jen has no idea who I know and who I don't know in this space.
You don't
No,
know
I
her?
do know her.
I mean, you
No, I
do
do,
know
like-
her? No, I don't. Why would I know that? Why would I think that you know her? How do you know
Like
people?
there's not that many money influencers, at least not.
So she's a big person in the personal finance world.
Yeah, it's bigger than me for sure. But
I did not know that you knew
but
her.
I think I I think I have her phone number, or I could message her or something. We've
What?
talked before. I don't think we've met in person. Anyway, this isn't about me name dropping Instagram people. No one, like the random person is no one's ever heard of. But yeah, I know her. And look at that, one episode of the Personal Finance Club show. We talked about the step up basis twice, and so
I know I be doing Southern accent. I can't even take credit. I didn't know you were going to talk about that.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a little hint that like, yeah, that part of it is definitely true, which is just what she said. I said earlier, like if you're investing and you have a gain when you die, your kid gets a step up basis, which means they don't have to pay tax on all the gains, just the gains since you died, which is like this massive tax benefit. And and what she's saying, to kind of echo the previous segment, she's not saying you have to buy life insurance to do this. No, that just happens automatically. Just in a regular old investment account, that happens automatically. That said, the overarching message here is that rich people do this. What is it called? What'd she say? Like borrow. Wait, it's at the beginning. The three little thing.
Borrow, die.
Buy, borrow, die. So buy a bunch of assets, borrow against those assets, then die. And I feel like it's that part of it. I really feel like is a little bit gimmicky because rich people don't need to do that. They can just sell their assets and spend. And the whole point of doing any of that is to maybe like avoid some capital gains tax after they're dead. And in order to save tax after they're dead, for their kids' sake, they're putting their own, they're leveraging their own portfolio and putting their own self at risk, right? Because if you borrow too much out of your portfolio, let's say you have $1 million portfolio and you borrow $500,000 and you spend your $500,000 and then your portfolio, the market drops like 50%, you're ruined. Because the loan gets called, you have to pay back all $500,000, and then your remaining $500,000 is gone, and that's like serious risk. If you have like $1 billion and you borrow $500,000, yeah, that's never going to happen. It's not going to. If the market drops 99.5% or whatever, we're all doomed. It doesn't matter. But if it's that extreme, you can just pay a little bit. You can just pay a little bit of capital gains tax. It's no big deal. And so, I don't see this like buy, borrow, die strategy as like this real big hack. It's just, I do feel like it's something influencers say to make normal people feel like, oh, there's this big loophole I'm missing because I'm not wealthy. And I don't see it that way. I know a lot of millionaires and none of them have this sort of line of credit against their investment portfolio that I'm aware of. A lot will buy real estate investments and use bank loans for that are fixed rate loans that aren't going to get called if the value of that property goes down or something. But I don't know anyone who does the buy, borrow, die thing. And lines of credit against investment portfolios are generally pretty expensive. They're at least like the market rate, which is like these days like 6 or 7%. And so, paying interest one fee to avoid taxes another fee, and you're taking on a bunch of risk to do so doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, her explanation of the step up basis is totally true. And I think that's a great thing, for your kids. But I don't think you need to like end your life hugely in debt, because also, by the way, your kids have to, pay off all your debt after, right? The debt is going to come out of the estate. So even though there's a step up basis and there might be a little bit less tax paid, you're still going to have to pay back all that money. So, I don't plan on doing this. I don't know any millionaires who do this. Are there some billionaires that do this? I don't know. I doubt it's really that popular. I just feel like I see this kind of hack a lot because it makes for like a really buzzy social media thing. But yeah, I give this a B. It's technically true. You could probably technically do all that, but I don't think it's a good strategy. And I certainly don't think it's anything that, anyone should be worried about. If you are worth 10 or $100 million and you want to do this, go nuts. I don't really care. If you're worth like under $10 million, don't do this. Why would you introduce risk into your own, leverage risk into your own personal finance life to maybe save like taxes with a step up basis? It makes no sense to me.
You're giving your friend a B. Wow.
Yeah, I know. If you see this, Vivian, sorry.
It's a dog eat dog world.
I said a lot of good stuff in there. And I don't know. This is just a clip. She's a great creator. She is doing extremely well. And these clips are this like
can't take it back now. Don't.
Well, I grade what I saw as a B, but it might have been out of context. Who knows what they're talking about?
I think it was also like a clicky like buy, borrow, die. What does that mean? It makes you want to watch it. Maybe you want to watch it. I watched it. I sent it to you. So
there you go.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
It's called clickbait for a reason.
Exactly. Okay.
All right. We got a little more time. What do we have time for?
Money. You've got time today.
I had time today. I get in the comments. I answer.
We're on TikTok.
I feel like the question section is where we answer your friendly mail, and then the I had time today is where we answer your hate mail.
Friendly mail makes me think of like Blue's Clues. We just got a letter. Did you watch Blue's Clues?
I mean, I'm too old for it, but like,
I mean, I was too, but I guess because my younger brother was 7 years younger, and maybe I got
okay. On the tail
I'll blame
end
it on Isaac.
Yeah, I think I'm too old for the Blue's Clues crowd. I think maybe it's not that popular anymore. I just skipped generations in this house. We're a toy train show house in Blippi.
You keep mentioning Blippi.
Actually, Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig is going hard right now.
Shout out Peppa Pig. Well, I'm on TikTok. You posted one where you went behind the scenes of your Fidelity account to show people step by step exactly how you invest. So at one point in the video, you say this.
That's it. Now my portfolio looks like this, and I essentially own a piece of every company on earth. I don't sell, I don't trade, I don't speculate. I just buy, always acquiring more shares, and I let compound growth do the work.
And we had a commenter that had feelings about it.
Yeah, so what'd the commenter say? There might have been some clever edits there that I missed, but it'll all make sense.
We're gonna
to you, the
insert
listener.
the video.
Got it. Okay, what did the commenter say?
So the commenter says, now he's quoting you when he says, now I own a piece of every company on earth. ITOT is only U.S. stocks. And we have that
This
guy
is the
emoji
exact
guy?
same emoji, the little like suspicious one eye raised flat mouth emoji.
The same guy.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Well, we'll never know it because we have this little anonymized.
I know. I'm the one who
guy.
blacks it out. I know, but I didn't check. All right. So what do you think about this comment?
So yeah, he said now he quoted me in quotes. Now I own a piece of every company on earth, and then he said ITOT is only U.S. stocks. He is exactly right. ITOT is only U.S. stocks, and if I was only buying ITOT, I would only own U.S.-based companies. But like 10 seconds earlier in that video, I said that's where I put most of my money. You know, with the plurality, the 40%, the 45%, 55%, whatever it is going to U.S. stocks. Maybe 35% is going to international stocks. Ticker symbols like IEFA and IEMG are also in my portfolio. I just gave an example of buying one ticker symbol because it's a TikTok, not a comprehensive financial plan. But I did say, to my credit, this TikTok from way back when, I did say most of my money goes in ITOT, and then much of it goes in international stocks, and some of it goes in bonds, and some of it goes in cash or real estate or whatever it is. And it's a balanced portfolio that I buy. And so yeah, he's technically, I don't know why I assume every single commenter is a male. Probably because they are. Women have better time, better things to do with their time than send hate mail to D-list financial influencers. But to his credit, he's exactly right. And if I was only buying ITOT, I wouldn't own a piece of every company on earth. But I do happen to buy international ETFs as well. And so I think it is fair to say, at least I own I kind of mostly own a piece of every publicly traded company on earth. There are probably some publicly traded companies that are super small that don't make it into these these indexes or these ETFs. And I certainly don't own a piece of privately held companies that are owned by people that haven't sold shares of their companies to the public. But, I think broad strokes, I think it's still a fair assessment to say I own, a piece of every publicly traded company on earth, more or less.
Well, in fairness, you did reply to him or whoever this person is, and they never replied back. Nobody ever comments back and says, "My bad, dude." Like,
I don't even know what I responded. Probably something similar. And I took the time.
You said exactly what you just said.
Okay, because look at that. I'm consistent. This TikTok from years ago. If there's anything about a boglehead or an index on an investor, it's that we're consistent. We just keep buying the same things, and we get super wealthy over time. How nice.
And that's why you're rich, and that's why we listen to you.
That's right. That's part of the reason, I guess. Well, thank you,
Why else are we
commenter.
listening to you? I wouldn't be listening to you if you weren't rich.
No one says that's true. It's not for my hilarious 5 minutes of stand-up I do every episode.
That what we're calling it, stand-up?
Well, I am sitting down.
We're calling it sit down. Yeah. Okay. Great job, and you took it nice and easy on that commenter, even though they were terrible to you.
No, they were right, and who sees TikTok comments? And no one on the internet has ever said my bad, so I don't expect them to like backpedal.
They
were right, and maybe they they blacked out for a second when I said mostly, and I didn't put my whole portfolio, like all this thing. We're all giving each other B's when these out of context clips taken out of context in small short clips. I've said the same words like 10 times. Anyway, that is a sign that the show is over. And so if you want to be rich and want to build wealth, remember to follow the 2 rules of Personal Finance Club. Rule number 1, live below your means. And rule number 2, invest early and often. See you next week.
The Personal Finance Club show is produced by Jeremy Schneider and Jen Mundia. Music by Esabalu and Homie. Send your questions to podcast@personalfinanceclub.com. The Personal Finance Club show is co-hosted by Jeremy Schneider, who is a co-owner of Nectarine, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The views expressed on this show are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Nectarine. Please refer to hellonectarine.com for all relevant disclosures. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as personalized investment advice or a solicitation to buy or sell any security. Listeners should consult their own financial, legal, or tax professionals for advice specific to their situation.